the man of the hour here, a man who captured many of WRAL's most iconic images, is calling it a career.
We're talking about legendary photojournalist Jay Jennings here. He's retiring after 43 years at WRAL. Jay came here in 1980 as a sports photographer and was later behind the camera for more than 100 WRAL documentaries.
This afternoon, WRAL employees, past and present, celebrated Jay's time here. And tonight, Jay and several of his colleagues look back at his illustrious career.
Photographer Jay Jennings.
Photographer Jay Jennings traveled to the Holy Land.
Photographer Jay Jennings does this better than just about anyone else in the country.
This station has an incredible history, and I've had a front row seat for it for 2/3 of that time.
I remember the photographer saying, I want to do a story like Jay Jennings. Nobody really was.
I came to work here when I was 21 years old in 1980, and just days after I get here, Duke announces they've hired Mike Krzyzewski as its new head coach.
Coach Mike Krzyzewski.
And then just a few days after that, NC State names Jim Valvano as its new head coach. I couldn't have gotten here at any better time.
Jay had only been there a year, but his video essays were already legendary.
They were magnificent, they were different, and it made our sportscast better.
Nobody else was doing it. It was basically kind of MTV sports here in the Triangle.
Most of all, he got the absolute signature shot, maybe of his career, of Jimmy V clipping the net and waving it.
Here it is, here it is.
Jay Jennings produced the most amazing stories ever.
Okay, Jerry, let's go.
In so many different areas in sports.
This is the kick of the line.
News.
Why does God choose anybody?
And the doc unit.
Jay Jennings literally on his shoulder took the first high-definition video ever inside the Vatican.
Some of the big news stories I remember covering, the 1988 tornado. That was a biggie. And covering that with Charlie Gaddy.
It was unbelievable when we drove in here.
The first big hurricane I covered was Hurricane Hugo. It was devastation I'd never seen before in my life. Russia 92. It was like 6 weeks after the fall of the Soviet government. The networks didn't even know what was going to happen whenever they were going in.
Whatever Jay did, he always just set the standard for everything that we did at this TV station, not just photographers.
He's got all the Emmys to show for it, but he's not the kind of guy who's going to put those Emmys on his front yard.
And he cared about the people that he was doing the story about, too.
Jay Jennings and I have cried together covering certain stories.
It is part of my life. WRAL and CBC will always be part of me after 43 years. And I hope there's just a little bit of my fingerprints here and there, you know, whenever I walk out the door.
If WRAL ever has a Hall of Fame, Jay Jennings should be a first-time Hall of Famer. Jay Jennings, WRAL will not be the same without you.
Wow.
He said it right there, right?
Oh my goodness. I was talking to his daughter-in-law just before this newscast, and she said, what also makes him so remarkable, in 43 years, not one enemy. The kindest person that you could ever work with.
Well, that's the thing they were saying over and over at his retirement event today, is that he wasn't just a great employee and photographer, but just a really great person. He's a man of faith, and just personally, he was so gracious to me and my family, because he has been working on the doc unit for many years and embraced my wife, Kristen, who is the current producer and reporter for the doc unit. So thank you to Jay for everything he helped us with. And man, the viewers at home were blessed with his work for so many years.
Big shoes to fill. Boy, that Jimmy V shot, iconic, iconic. Get chills. All right, let's send it